Hey friends, it's Carol, Saltbox Stitcher. It's been a while since I did a video. This is episode 105. This is the day that Professor Saltbox teaches, so he may come home at some point during the video, but if he does, we'll greet him. Hope you all are doing well. It is an extremely gloomy day today here in Jacksonville, and it's supposed to rain for the next few days, so this is a good time to stay in and stitch. And yes, I got a haircut. And that's all we're going to say about my hair. It's a little bit short, but not too bad. And it'll grow out. So it's good. I'm happy. If I'm happy, the world's happy, right? No. There's a cross stitch at Country Sampler. It says, if the queen is happy, there's peace in the kingdom. I think that's funny. Okay, so what have I been stitching? Well, as usual, I'm in startitis mode. So I guess 2024, Lord willing, I live that long, which I don't see why I shouldn't, but you never know. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. It's going to have to be get rid of some of these whips, finish whips, not get rid of them. Because, oh my, I've really been adding to the whip pile. But I'm having fun, so that's the whole thing. So this is kind of one of those transition times where it's November and there's still Thanksgiving yet to come, but we're so close to Christmas that you start getting tempted to stitch Christmas. So anyway, there's some of both, is my point. There's some of both. The first thing I wanted to show you, since if you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I have a lot of things that are finished but not framed. I don't automatically frame things right away. I wish I could, but that gets expensive to have custom framing. I don't even finish all my pin pillows and things like that, smalls, as soon as I stitch them. I should, but I procrastinate on that. But I did order a couple frames, and I framed a few things. Now, by all means, they are not perfect, but they're okay for me. I ordered the frames from the Hobby Lobby, the Hoblob, and the first time they came in, the guy measured, and the first time he measured, I don't know what the error was, but they were too small, so I had to take them back, order bigger ones to fit the pieces, and they were very kind in that they didn't charge me any extra, which was very nice. So I had hoped to have these done sooner so I could have had them displayed for October, but they weren't. So the first one I had done was Reverend Gordon Squashbottom, and this is by Not Forgotten Farm. So this is all the pumpkin head people I feel like are fall. I guess they could be through November, but to me they're a little bit more October-y. Anyway, I know it's not perfect because it does have that border line. I pinned and laced, because I'm an overachiever. Not really. I actually pulled a thread, and that was what I used for my edge that I put on the foam core. So anyway, and the only reason I really laced it was to, make that neater on the back. I still have to put piece of paper on the back. So that is Reverend Gordon Squashbottom. And the other one I framed is Gather In by Plum Street. Again, not perfect. It's kind of hard when sometimes there's, like the G is much closer to the top than, say, the lowercase letters. Same with the edge on this side over here. It's not perfect. But I like it. I think it turned out nice. I actually finished this last year, so now this one is ready for next year, for fall. Gather In by Plum Street. And so then I'll talk about my stitching that's fall-ish. And then we'll go into kind of Christmas stuff. I still have a lot of Christmas frame pieces, but I'm not showing those today. I have some finished ones that I want to order frames for that I thought you could let me know what you think. Okay, the first one, since I had some new starts, try to get organized here. The first new start, not necessarily in order that I actually did them, but in order that I'm talking about them. I started Frederica, and this is by Carriage House Samplings, and this is the one that goes with Frederick that's already finished. I'm stitching this on 40 count Pearl Barley by I think I'm gonna do something here, just a second, by Lakeside Linens. Now what did I do with the piece? It's around here somewhere. Oh my gosh, I thought I was more organized. Hold on. There it is. And this is the piece. I've started with the border, going all the way around with the border. There's some threads here, so I'm not sure yet. This border has fill in behind the diamonds, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do that yet. So there we go. That's where I am. I started on the rows of kind of grass that are on the bottom. Like I said, this is vintage Pearl Barley, and I'm using the called for NPI silks. Very autumn colors. I don't know that this, to me, this is folk art rather than a season, but there's the colors. So that is the next, or the first one that I new start. And I had planned to do that one, so that's not a surprise. The next one I just have a small start on, and this is a Blackbird piece. And this is called First Winds of Autumn. This is in a book, but when I got it originally, it was a Dying to Stitch club kit. And it's that giant strawberry by Blackbird Designs. First Winds of Autumn. Not sure, it's one of their fall books. There's 2 fall books. And I can't even remember the name of them. They kind of look similar, but one of them has that piece in it. The giant strawberry. And when I originally got it, I got it with the velvet backing, the threads. And so, where's the piece, Carol? And this is on R&R Vintage Beeswax. Since it was a Dying to Stitch kit, R&R and Dying to Stitch are synonymous. Same 2 ladies own both. So I have a small start on that one. Just very, very small. So I'd like to get back to that. I'd like to get back to all of them, so you know how that goes. And again, that's the ones I'm using that came on, the threads that came on that card. The next start that I did, these are all ones that I kind of had my in my want to start. Hold on. I think last time I talked about some of the ones that I wanted to start, so I started them. This is Queen of Harvest by With Thy Needle and Thread. Again, that's synonymous with Brenda Gervais. Sometimes I say Brenda Gervais, sometimes I say With Thy Needle and Thread. It's just the same. Her sister Sandy Gervais designs fabric. I think she designs for Riley Blake. And she and Brenda both have the same married last name because sisters married brothers. So there you go. There's a little bit of trivia that you might not have known had you not watched this video. Anyway, Queen of Harvest. I'm stitching this on a piece of Picture This Plus sand. And here's the pattern. And I'm working on the girl's dress. She's headless at this point. Done the basket and the bird. And the top says, thanks for thy bounty. Give thanks for thy bounty. So that's what I have finished on that one. And that's kind of comfort stitching when you can just sit and fill in a dress like that. So, and on that one, I am using all of the called for, which are overdyed cottons, very fall. Now the next one that I started, I kind of spent quite a bit of time on this one. And this one is one that some friends were doing, and I kind of asked if I could join in, and that is Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. And I've talked about this. Now that the friends have decided they're going to divide it into sections. Maybe some of you that watch Olivia Pumpkin Hollow Quilts have listened to how she talks about they have assignments and they try to get a certain amount done each month so that at a certain time in the future they'll be finished with it. Well, the plan was to be finished in 20 months. But, you know, at the end of, you know, the 19th month, that might be nursing home stitching for me. So I thought I need to finish it. I'd like to have it done by next year. And I do have another friend locally who has this finished and framed. She finished it this past year, and it's gorgeous. And I'm talking about Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain, and this one is by Kathy Barrick. Carriage House Samplings and Kathy Barrick, and really Liz Matthews too, but they're all related. Kathy and her sister, oh gosh, I can't remember her sister's name. But anyway, I think Kathy originally did some of the Carriage House Samplings designs, and then her sister kind of took it over, and then Kathy kept designing under her own name. So I don't know the history of it, but they are kind of related. So sometimes people will say Kathy Barrick rather than Carriage House Samplings, but they really are separate, but yet connected. So that's Autumn at Lazy Bear Mountain. This one's by Kathy Barrick. And this one I am using a piece of 40 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. And basically I did almost 3 assignments that those gals. So I'd have to keep doing additional assignments each month in order to get finished in 10 months, which is my goal. So that's where I am on that one. So that's Autumn at Lazy Bear Mountain, 40 count hog bristle by Fox and Rabbit. And I'm using the NPI, which I had most of them. I've collected NPI for a long time. So sometimes when things, you know, and a lot of older Plum Street were done in NPI. So, you know, I've done some of those I collected. So I've been collecting NPI. Now they're more expensive than like your overdyed cottons or even DMC, obviously. But one thing to remember is some of these silks, and NPI is a silk, some of these silks have more than 6 strands per length. So you're really getting more out of a skein than you would, say, out of a DMC. Does that make sense? So anyway, so proportionately, you'd have to not just say, okay, this one is $4.50 and this one is, $2.50 if you're talking about overdyed cottons, when really you're getting more out of that $4.50. Okay, don't belabor the fact. I think you get what I'm talking about. So that's Autumn at Lazy Bear Mountain. I spent quite a bit of time on that. One of the things that I do stitch in hand, except for over one stitching. Sometimes eyelets I like to do with a small hoop as well as over one stitching. It just pulls it tighter so I can see better for the over one stitching or for eyelets. But one of the things I do, y'all know if you've watched me for a while, I like to do the border first. And I think one of the reasons is, and I'll show you something later that I started. If I don't start the border first, and if I don't do the whole border first, and I just start the border and then jump in and start doing some flowers, sometimes my count is off. Because the border for me, to start the border, is sometimes like meeting someone you've never met before. It's a little awkward. You don't know yet, their personality or what they're interested in, and so it's a little awkward. Well, that's how a border is for me, because I personify my borders, obviously. So I have to find a path that I can stitch without going, this way and then backwards and then this way and then backwards, because I have to find a path where I can go continuous. And I will jump one or maybe two stitches I'll carry, but I like to find a path, however that is. And that's how it was with this Autumn on Lazy Bear Mountain. So basically I had to find a path. Well, my path ended up being half of the border, like I would do the top half, and then I would go back and connect the bottom half to it. And for me, that worked. So that way I can be more efficient, because efficiency is very important when you're stitching, especially when you have all these whips and all these pieces that you want to finish before you're in the nursing home. So care facility, I'm sorry. I think Callie from Floss Boss and Cousins, I think she works I think that's a memory care facility, which is hopefully not, although you never know what God's going to bring you. So anyway, that's way off the subject. So anyway, that's what I got done on Autumn at Lazy Bear Mountain. I think the rest of what I started and my plans. Okay, so now we've cleaned up the Thanksgiving dishes. The turkey is just a set of bones on a platter, and now we're ready to decorate the tree and we're ready to start Christmas. Are you with me? Okay. So during that little interim period, I pulled out a few things that I decided maybe I could just interject and start stitching on, and they're not seasonal, in order to eventually get these finished. And those are Hawk Run Hollow. I have the Villages one started, and I just needed to get some stitching on it. So I'm trying on Fridays, which is another great suggestion that some of the gals that are doing Lazy Bear Mountain, they do Hawk Run Hollows on Fridays. So I thought, well, that's a really good idea. I could just set aside every Friday to stitch on Hawk Run Hollow. And then on Sunday, I decided, I used to do a Sunday stitch and I kind of got away from that. So I've decided I want to do His Eyes on the Sparrow. And so I'll show you my progress on both Hawk Run Hollow and His Eyes on the Sparrow, because those are going to be my Fridays and Sunday stitches. Did I confuse you? You thought we were going to start talking about Christmas, and here I jump into Hawk Run Hollow. So there's a lot of Hawk Run Hollows. There's Village, there's Farm, there's Shores, there's Year, there's Christmas, there's Halloween, there's Fall, Autumn, there's Houses. But for some odd reason, I started with villages or village. And I started this quite a while ago, maybe 5 years ago. Not sure exactly when, but I started it a while ago. So this is Village of Hawkrun Hollow. When I finish this one, I'm going to immediately start on houses. Or when I get halfway, I'm going to start on houses because I love the houses as well. I would also like to stitch Christmas, but you know, now we're really talking far off. So when I started this, I decided to do all, you know, because I stitch borders, so I'm kind of a goofy nut anyway. Well, more than kind of, but anyway, I decided to start and do all of the outlines so I could just move to any block. If I get tired of stitching a block, I can move on. So the first one I did was block 1 after I had all the outlines. Got that done. Started on block 2. And Isaiah is spelled wrong on this, and I'm going to correct it. I think I can figure out how to move some of the letters over. So it's got a church, there's a couple birds, and then there's the name, the Reverend Isaiah Cook. Then I started on those willow trees. I do not like those willow trees. Every bit of that is backstitch. I thought it was hard, but that's just me. I think it's hard to, okay, backstitch, so you're going to go over 1, you're going to go down 2, but over, really you're going only, you're down 1 and over 2, and you have to really count a lot to get your backstitch correct. Well, at some point I did part of a tree and I was like, okay, I'm going to put this away for a while. This is too tedious. But when I decided to get it out again, I thought, no, you know, let's be an adult stitchers, unite. And let's just do this. So I got the first tree done. And I started on the second tree and got half of it done. Are you seeing it? Yes. And then I realized all the branches that I had put in were the wrong color. So the tree's supposed to be green, the branches are supposed to be brown. You wouldn't know if I didn't tell you, but now I've told you, so, but I'm not taking them out. I'm not, because Lord have mercy, that was a lot of crazy stitching. So I decided to just take a little bit of a break, but I still have to do this side of the tree, of the second tree. And then I need to do the birds. And of course, you have to have it exact at the top, otherwise one bird's going to be higher than the other. So, anyway, but I love this piece. And so I decided I would take a little bit of a break and start on the next block 3. And that one is the City Hall. I'll show you the picture again. So that's the City Hall. So here's what I'm doing. So I will go back and fill in that other tree. I just need to break from it. And I actually still have a needle in here, but you know. If you call the, just remember, if you judge me and call the cross-stitch police, then you're going to be judged by the same cross-stitch police. So be careful. Which, by the way, I have somebody that keeps leaving nasty comments. It's one person. She's going through a lot of, maybe it's a he, I don't know, she or he, going through a lot of my old videos and just leaving these one-line negative comments. And I just want to say, I know who you are, and stop doing that, because I'm deleting all of those comments. So, you know, it is what it is. I don't know if she's an internet troll or if she's an actual troll that's ugly and creepy and lives under a bridge, but one or the other. Stop. Because I'm just deleting your comments. You're just wasting your time. Anyway, so that's where I am on Hawkrun Hollow. Village of Hawkrun Hollow. So then I mentioned my Sunday stitch. Oh, and I'm using the NPIs for that. One of the things I do too, like if I'm going to be kitting something and I say to myself, those are done in NPIs, so let's see what you need. First, I go through my ring of stash NPIs, and then I'll go to like Hakra and Hollow, and I'll think, okay, I have that color in there, so I could temporarily put it with such and such, or I could make a note on the one I'm kitting saying it's in Hakra and Hollow, so you don't need to order it. So His Eyes on the Sparrow is by, most all of you probably familiar with this one. It's by Heartstring Samplery. Beth so kindly watched one of my videos, and I was using the pattern, and she said she gifted me a book, which I thought was very nice. Now, I am still using the pattern on some cases because the pattern's broken up differently. So there might be an animal that in the booklet is on half of it's on one page, half of it's another. But on the actual pattern, not that you have to go buy both, I don't mean that. But on the actual pattern, since I already have it, the animal is complete on the pattern. So it just makes it easier to stitch. So I'm happy to say on this one, and I'm doing this with the overdyed cottons. I'm stitching this on 36 count. I started on 36. I wish I'd start on 40, but I didn't, so I have way too much done now to go backwards. And I also am going to stitch, would like to stitch the Consider the Lilies, which is kind of it's the companion piece to this. And that one, I think I also want to stitch on 36 so that they're the same size, but if I stitched it on 40, it would be smaller framing, but whatever. But I'm happy to say that I now have the entire top part finished. This is His Eyes on the Sparrow. So I was working on this side over here, and now I can actually trim the side fabric off. So 2 Sundays, and I got done this horse. I had most of the bottom part of that section done, but I ended up doing, the peacock, whatever that next animal is, some flower baskets, a bird, this horse. So I was just happy that I got the entire top half done. Now, it's not really half because the bottom half is bigger, but you know what I mean. So that's where I am. Did I say this is on 36 count Heartland by Picture This Plus. And it's kind of a yellowy golden type fabric, but I like it. I think it goes good with all the browns that are in this. Some people change the color of the house. I decided not to. I wish I would have, but it is what it is. It's still pretty. So the next thing I will do on Sunday when I get back to this is go all the way around, at least with the bones of the border, because I did not do that. So I have to keep going on the border. So that's what I was stitching on Fridays and Sundays. Now we're ready for Christmas. I have 3 pieces I started, and then I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to talk about plans for Christmas stitching. And then I'll show you a couple finished ones that I want to order frames for, and I can't afford to get them all done, but one of them, we have a frame my husband can cut down, and then the other 2, I'd like to do 2 more, so I'd like to do a total of 3. So what did I start? Where's my patterns here? The first one I started, I've had this one kitted for years. And I'm kind of like, I need to go back and start and work on some of these ones that I've had kitted for years. Which, by the way, go to Teresa Koget's last, not the What You Paintin' Wednesdays, but the one prior to that where she was at Country Sampler before she went on to Amana. And she does a complete, and being an artist, she does one of the best videos I've ever seen of the inside of Country Sampler, because she really focuses on perspective of what she's showing you and stopping, and so go watch. Teresa, I'm sorry, I don't know what video number it was, but it was one of the recent ones that talked about retreats. But it was the fall. So I'm asking you, Teresa, you need to go back to Country Sampler and video the Christmas now that you've done the fall, because, we like the complete tour of the store. So I don't think you're too far, are you? You're in Michigan and it's in Wisconsin and you're neighboring states, so I don't think Teresa watches my videos. But anyway, this was a kit. All that to say, this was a kit that I got from Country Sampler a while back. And this is done on 36 count. At the time it was Confederate gray. Now it's gray, whatever. I don't always keep track of all that. But it's called Gathering the Greens. A lot of people have finished this one. Love that yellow house. So pretty. Now the gray linen is 36 count. I believe it's probably Old Weeks. That doesn't bother me. I mean, I like the newer Zweigart Weeks better, but this is what it was kitted with, so I'm going to use it. So here's the colors. Red, pink. The house is in that, this is bee's knees, so it's that nice golden kind of color. And then you have the greens, Christmas greens. I spent a couple nights on this one. Again, I had to figure out a path for my border because I started it. This is the one I was referring to. I started it and then I thought, well, I'll add some color and add some flowers. And of course I was off because it's like meeting somebody that you don't know. It's like, who are you, border? Anywho, so this is where I am. I have gone all the way around with the bones of the border, but you can see on this border, and some of this is kind of ghosty, but I don't care. I like it. You can see on the border, it has these swirls and these leaves. Let me see if I can hold it still for just a minute. So this is where I had started here and I went down and I was off up here when I added the flowers, so I take all that out. There is a inner just single line border. Let me see if I can fold it again so get a little bit more perspective. See that little, that's the famous conch by Weeks. Remember conch? No, Carol, I don't remember conch. Tell me about conch. Well, oops, I think I have the wrong, is this the right? No, that's the wrong. Here they are. Conch was the famous pinkish that was used in Winter Rose Manor. It's pink, it's not pink, it's pink, it's really a light peach. It's supposed to be like the inside of the shell. Have you ever, the one you hold up near the ocean, even if you're in the Midwest. So they say. Never worked for me, but whatever. They're those big, beautiful shells. I think you have to go to faraway islands now to find them, but anyway. So that little inner border line is that. So I'll try to use the lightest of the strands, but I really don't. It's not going to. I'm going to be able to live if it doesn't show up great. Because technically it doesn't show up great on the picture. So I'm okay with it. It's the look. And I may grunge this up after I do it with some walnut crystal. Mix walnut crystals with hot water, use this old paintbrush and just kind of dab where you want, rather than that spray. The spray for aging is spritzes, and sorry, did I scare you? It leaves splotches, so I've used that and I don't like it. That's just my opinion. Now, you could probably pour some into something and use that to paint, but I don't like to use that sprayer. Rabbit trail. Anyway, gathering the greens. I know there's been quite a few people that have finished that, and it's very pretty. And it's not huge. You could see that I've got the bones of the border. It's not huge. The next one I started, I told you about my ornaments that I want to start. These are hands-on design. 12 Days of Christmas done on that red. I think the red is Aztec red by Weeks. So I started with this one. I don't have a lot done, but I have a little bit done. And I want to finish one, and then I'm going to cut the linen into, you know, like rectangles so that I can do each one. So that's where I am on that first one. I'd like to get all 12 done, but, you know, I don't know. And that one is done with, where's my threads for that? Here they are. Mostly overdyed, some DMC. One more start that I have. This is Martha Jefferson by Chessie and Me. Again, this was a kit that I had from, I'm not sure where this was from. This may have been a homespun needlework, and I may have gotten this from Shepherd's Needle. I'm not 100% sure. It was a little while ago. The reason I say that is Country Sampler usually writes on the back if it's a kit, but it could have been a special offering, and then they don't know. Sometimes they'll write like 40 count or whatever. So, oh, I think Mr. Saltbox is home.
Hello, anybody home?
Shh, I'm videoing him. Sorry you missed your part. Anyway, Martha Jefferson. This is by Chessie and Me. It's just a really pretty soft piece. It's not necessarily Christmas, but with that white roof, to me, it just kind of looks Christmassy. Like I said, this was a kit. But I started last night, and I went nuts because I must have stolen one of the threads out of here, which I've been known to do. Because I had to look everywhere to find a Weeks tin roof, which is the color of a floss as well as the color of a linen. So it was tricky. So I left my needle in here. I was actually stitching on this a little this morning. This is done on 35. It says 35, but I think it's 40. I need to measure it because it seems more like 40. And it could be that I ordered whatever, there was the choice and I ordered 40. It just doesn't seem like 35. But it's Weeks Cocoa. There's also a companion, what am I trying to say? A companion pin pillow that just has the house. So again, this is one of those ones, kind of ghosty, but very pretty. You see it? I don't see what you're seeing. Here he comes. Hello, Mr. Saltbox, Professor.
Hello.
He's not feeling great. So I have that one started. I'm going to continue to work on that one. That one came with the threads. It does have some red. See, this to me just kind of looks Christmas colors, you know, although it has a purple, but it's kind of a light purple. So it's got a couple colors of green. Has this red. Actually, the house is done on this with this Tennessee red clay, which is the same as the border. It's a very soft piece. So, okay, I'm going to take a short break. I'm already at 40 minutes. I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to show you some finished ones that I'm considering for framing, and you can vote on them if you want, whatever. There's no prize if you do, just I'm curious. And then I'm going to show you a few plans. So I will be right back. I kind of wanted to clarify something. I was referring to Teresa Kogut and her recent YouTube video where she did a tour of Country Sampler. That's Teresa Kogut, the designer. She lives in Michigan. Teresa Vanette is the also designer. She's Shakespeare's peddler. She lives in Mississippi. So sometimes they sit by each other at retreats. I call them Teresa squared. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify that. Teresa Kogut is the designer, and her designs are all under her own name, Teresa Kogut. I think her YouTube might be something Whimsy, Teresa Kogut Whimsy or something. But Teresa Kogut, Kogut. Okay, I'm going to show you, I didn't get out all the patterns for these, so sorry if that's confusing. But I'm going to show you some of the finished ones. Some of them I did last year, some of them I did years past that need to be framed. I'd like to frame. My husband might be able to make a couple of frames, but he's super busy. So this is the first one I wanted to show you. This is Peace and Goodwill Sampler. This is by Chessie and Me. I recently showed this on my Instagram post for my Saltbox Stitcher Weekly Sampler post along. So that's one. This one is by Samplers Not Forgotten. I think this is called, oh gosh, maybe Christmas in My Heart. I don't know. I think Country Sampler still has kits for this. But this is by Samplers Not Forgotten. So that's another one possible. This is Brenda Gervais, and again, I'm not sure the name of it. Maybe All Bundled Up. I don't know. I can't remember. The big snowman. I've done the snowman and the green cat. I had that out at for fall. All of my decorations are still Thanksgiving. Not Halloween, but Thanksgiving. Anyway, this is the snowman with the cardinal. I could almost do this into a stand-up, but I was hoping the frame that I had on the other one, the green scaredy cat, that might transfer to this one too, but no such luck. So anyway, that's third one. That one's by Brenda Gervais. This is Winter Rose Manor, another one by Brenda Gervais. This one I finished last year. She does have a new one out called Light of Winter. And I have the pattern, but I haven't decided yet. I might start that, I don't know. I haven't decided yet what linen I'm going to use. I think it calls for Winter Brew, which is actually what I use for this, Winter Brew by R&R. There's that famous conch with the pink house. This is Blackbird. I'm not sure the name of this one. I've said it before and then I forget. Peace on Earth? I don't know. Here's a close-up of it. It's got that checkerboard house. Very cute. And this is the one. I used to have this in a white frame that was way oversized. I looked and looked and looked for, I took it out of the frame and I looked and looked and looked for the frame, couldn't find it, and spent so much time looking for it. I thought, this is crazy. I don't know what I did with it. It'll turn up. And like 3 days later, I was like, oh, I know exactly where it is, and went and got it. So my husband's going to cut it down. This is an older Blackbird. I think this is discontinued. It's called Merry Christmas, Ella Vaughn. but Ella Vaughn is a relation of Blackbird, so I put Merry Christmas Laura Fields, which would be my great-grandmother, my grandfather's mother, my mother's father's mother, Laura Fields. So this one definitely will get framed because I have the frame for that. It just needs to be cut down. Okay, then we'll talk about plans. This is, I would love to get this stitched this year. I don't know if I will. This is by Chessie and Me, and this again was at some point in time when I was at Country Sampler. I bought the kit. This is, and then I lost, for a long time I couldn't find the pattern. It's by Chessie and Me. It's called Stella's Sleigh Ride. I have a big box in a closet that's full of like wooden type stuff, like horn books and things like that that I've bought for different pieces and not stitched the pieces yet. And I knew I bought the sleigh, but I couldn't find the pattern. I found, and I was like, where is the pattern? Well, it was in the same box. It just was, it had gotten separated from the sleigh. So I don't know where you can get this sleigh. Like I said, I've had this for a while. And this one is kitted. This is another one that's done on formerly Confederate gray. Now it's just gray. Has the wool to go on the back of it. Almost the same colors as that Gathering the Greens by Stacy Nash. But this one is by Chessie and Me, Stella's Sleigh Ride. So that would be lovely to get that one started. Now I also have lots of ornaments. I have Prairie Schooler. There's a lot of stuff that I would like to stitch, but I just thought I'd show you a few things that were kind of on my radar. The next one, this one I'm definitely going to start. I'm not sure when, but it will be the week of Thanksgiving. So next week. Wow. Is that like unreal? It's Thanksgiving already. It's almost 2024. This is by Kathy Barrick and Heaven and Nature Sing. It's not huge, but there's a huge deer on it. But I love that. I would sing that for you, but I am not Jane. I do not have a good voice. Jane has a good voice. Some people will have like, I know it's called perfect pitch, but I don't know if that's really a thing. But I used to work with a gal when I worked at Talbot's, and we would sometimes close together, and she could sing and always be right on. I can't even start Happy Birthday. I have to have my daughter, who has a really good voice, and she used to sing. She's been in choirs and plays and all kinds of stuff. She can just start Happy Birthday perfect. I start it and everybody's like, Happy Birthday. I don't think that's right. I'm like, okay, you start. Anyway, I have that kitted with a piece of pecan butter by Lakeside. And this is one that I have notes that some of the NPIs are in Hawk Run Hollow. So there you go. But that one I'm going to start next week. So that's a definite. Some of the ones that I'm just showing you plans, I don't think I'm going to have him put in the name of it because it's just the pattern. Y'all can read that. The other ones that I'm actually showing you the piece, pattern's not in front, then it's kind of nice to have it labeled on the screen. The other one, and I want to start this one also, this is a new pattern. This one is called North Pole, also by Kathy Barrick. I love this guy. He's just so, I don't know, stately. he's just got a presence about him. North Pole. By Kathy Barrick. And I have this one. This one calls for flannel flowers. Flannel Flowers by Fox and Rabbit is what I'm stitching. It's a needlework press sampler that I started during my wild, crazy August, September starts. I want to say Mary Green. I don't think that's it. Anyway, I'm stitching it on Flannel Flowers. So I had a piece to compare, and I decided to use, what am I using? I don't think I have it labeled. That's a problem. It was something I found in my stash. Oh, yes, it is. This is Paper Bark by Fox and Rabbit. Now, Flannel Flowers, Paper Bark are not going to be exactly the same. I think this may be a little bit lighter. So we're just going to see how these threads are going to show up, because you have a really, really light green. We'll see. I've seen people start it. I think there's a couple people that have finished it, that have started it on like a tan, like a vintage light exemplar. So that's an option too. I haven't started it yet, so you know, there's time to change my mind if I decide to do so. And I need to put a label on that so the threads don't get misplaced. So I think he's very cute. North Pole, Kathy Barrick. This is a new design. Like, came out really recently. And I was going to mention I didn't have any haul other than I got the 2024 Book of Days. I didn't bring it out. I have another like calendar type thing that was sent to me by Lori Sykes, I think. So I may use both. I just kind of may do that. Okay, so I also have in a project bag some Blackbird ones that I have kitted. I don't have this one kitted, but this is Crowning the Tree. This just got re-released. So this is available. One of these days before I die, I want to do all of the Blackbird stockings. But this just got re-released, Crowning the Tree by Blackbird Designs. I have Feliz Navidad. That one's kitted. I have Merry Christmas. I have that one kitted. There's 4 of these, I think, altogether. So I don't think I'll start all of them right away, but one never knows about me. Obviously, I've proved myself wrong 100 times. This one's Christmas Rose. And this one is Bringing Good Cheer. So there's 4 of this series of Christmas ones by Blackbird. And they're not huge. It's called the Christmas Sampler Series. And what I did, and I've done this before with Blackbird pieces. Sorry for the crinkling. Is like I collect all of and put them on one ring. I have a pretty big stash. You know, I've been at this a while. You know, a lot of people, oh, you have to get so much done. Well, I've been at it a while. So it's like your photo albums. The older you get, the more and more photos you have. It's like, wow, what happened here? So, anywho, that is all I have to show you. This is a project bag I got years ago. I think I bought this from Dying to Stitch. I'm pretty sure this is French General fabric. Isn't that cute? I love it with the stripe. Years ago I bought that. Like 2016 or something. Years ago. Okay, friends, I think that's it. We're going to have a quilt sale video. We're still working. I've pulled all the quilts. I have I don't know, 9, something like that. We're hoping to do it no later than the first week of December. They're all finished quilts, so they will go immediately. So if you are interested in that, stay tuned. I am going to do a video and show them. We're still kind of debating on, I just didn't like the format of the other quilt videos that I've done where I held up a quilt, but I wasn't close to the microphone, and so then it was like kind of a technical issue. I may do it like just sitting here, and then he'll insert pictures of the quilt. That we're still talking about that, so we'll see. But that's all I have to show you for now, so I hope you're all having a good week. And tomorrow, I'm cooking my sweet potatoes right now because tomorrow I am Camille's special guest at her 3rd grade Thanksgiving feast. And a couple years ago, I was Elijah's special guest. So each child can invite one person. And of course, the reason she invited me is because she loves my sweet potato casserole, which they call the marshmallow casserole because it has marshmallows on top. So anyway, I'm fixing that today so that tomorrow for lunchtime I can go to her classroom and be her special guest. So I'm really looking forward to that. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope that you truly are thankful, because no matter what our situation in life is, there are so many people in the world that are so much less fortunate than we are. So be thankful and know that you are blessed. So I will see you when I see you. Love you. Bye.